Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us today for our IL Social Studies Com to celebrate all the great things that are happening across Illinois. I'm Katie Alvich. I'm the Social Science Content Specialist, and joining us is my colleague Kathy Rodas, who's a Social Science and ELA Content Specialist. And then our guest speaker for today, Lisa Ward, is the Learning Supports Content Specialist. Our team of content specialists is employed by the Center for Educational Initiatives at Illinois State University, and we partner with ISB to support teachers in Illinois with the implementation of the learning standards. A little housekeeping, Lisa would love it if you have questions throughout, you're welcome to just actually jump in and say them. That's okay. If you don't have access to a microphone, you can type them in the chat. Kathy or I will kind of keep an eye on the chat and monitor that if you don't have a microphone or a way to speak the questions. But Lisa's totally okay with you kind of interrupting to ask her your questions. If you have a camera and you want to turn that on, that's okay. Don't be offended if I do mute you, if we get some like feedback or weird background noise stuff for the moment. That doesn't mean you can't talk. Just unmute yourself to talk, and then we may be getting some weird feedback from the mic. What else? I need my disclaimers. Remember, before we start, any discussion here is not an endorsement by ISB or ISU. We're just providing a platform for the sharing of ideas and resources. And in the chat window, I've put a link to the pre-survey that some people have already taken. But if you haven't had a chance to take a look at that, there's just 4 quick questions. We'd love it if you would take that real quick as Lisa's getting started. Ooh, and Lisa, I forgot. See, there's all sorts of great new updates. We're going to try a poll. Are you ready? Zoom does a poll. Get ready. 1 question, super challenging. Let's see. We'd love to know what grade bands you're working with. Oh, so fun.
Katie loves new tech when it comes out.
I do. This is why I'm excited Lisa's here to share with us today. All right. I'm going to take my screen down for you, Lisa.
Okay. I will then share my screen.
Now, Lisa, are you able to see, was everybody able to see the results of the polling?
Yeah,
Ooh.
I was.
It's exciting. Just curious. Thanks for playing along, folks.
Yep. Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay. Here we go.
Okay, let me do that and do that. There we go. Get all my stuff there. All right. We're going to bounce around to a couple of things as we do this. I already have one up there. So I'm going to go through a lot of tools and resources. The beginning ones are ways to utilize some of these tools and resources, some ebook creators in there, and then we're going to get into a lot of the social science tools and such. You may find things that fit your environment, things that don't fit your environment, but please, if there's something you're going, well, I really wish I would have found this. Whenever I have to, do a tech survey or do a tech presentation, I try to narrow it down a little bit because we have an hour. But I may have something as well, and I just didn't think to put it in. So please ask as we go. So one of the first 3 things I'm going to show you are ways to share the videos that you may come across. A lot of schools being Google Schools or being with Google Classroom, or your tech guys have it blocked so you can't share YouTube so your students can't watch them. Or how do I watch a YouTube video without all of these pop-ups along the side showing up? So there's 3 tools that I'm going to share with you that are very super simple, easy to use. First one is ViewPure. ViewPure does not need to have a login to use it. I'll show you a little quick example of how this works. We'll make sure my tech is zipping right along here. So if you go to YouTube and you want to find something you want to share, ViewPure and SafeShare both do the same sort of thing. Now, if you're taking notes as we go through this, something I wanted to, I have a slide deck that has a PDF of everything we're going to talk about today with linkable links. And at the end of our session today, Katie's going to share where that is.
Yep.
So by all means, take notes if you like, but don't think you have to write down everything I bounce to. We're going to send you a link to be able to do it.
Yep, and
it'll have everything listed in there.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the chat window as we get kind of close to the end, and then it will be on the Social Studies Com page too, so you'll be able to find it.
Yep.
Thanks, Lisa. I was just going to interrupt you.
No problem. So you just take the URL that you have for whatever YouTube video or any videos that we're talking about through this. You make a copy of it, and then you just click it into the View Pure. And once you click it in there, you purify it. It's actually going to take a few moments. It's going to render it a little bit, and it's going to pop up with a View Pure, and there's the video we were looking at. And now if you take this link up at the very top and send that to your students in a Google Classroom or any other classroom management software you have that you're utilizing, or to share with them in any way, shape, or form, you can also turn this into a bit.ly if you want to do it that way as well. But this is the URL you send them, and they're going to get this. Notice nothing else is on the side. You don't get any of those other playlists or anything like that. SafeShare does the same thing. SafeShare, however, now makes you have an account. It is a free account. You get quite a few choices with free. They do have a paid version as well, but the free removes the ads as well, and it works just the same way. Using it under the login account for it, you'll be able to track all of your videos that you've saved under the SafeShare TV. So those are two resources in which to do that. The next one I like, and we're just going to type it in here, that I kind of like even more, because if we're going to be watching a video, let's throw something else in with it. And that's Edpuzzle. Edpuzzle is the super simplest, easiest way to turn a video into an assessment. And not meaning a structured, just to see if they're following along with what's going on in the video. So Edpuzzle has a free account. Yes, you do need to sign up with an account. You can create your classes, or you can even have students just go and watch it with, and the first question you ask them is to type in their name. And then you can follow along. Edpuzzle allows you to create content from any of these resources. So Edpuzzle's videos, YouTube, Khan Academy, National Geographic, TED Talks. I love throwing TED Talks with questions. And so forth. Number file for those Matthews out there. And then Crash Course. So we'll get a little bit of Crash Course later today. A great way to do this is if you type in that you want to find something in YouTube. So we click here, and maybe we want to look at economics. And if I spell. When it comes back, it shows you a bunch of different video choices here. Say I want to look at Intro to Economics. And it comes up. And there it is, and it tells you it's about 12 minutes long, and then you can do a couple of things with it. If you scroll down, there are, well, this is a popular video, 1,370 other versions of this. So people have found this, made a copy of it, and notice this little 10 with this marker. This video has 10 questions already built into it. So you could click on it and watch to see what Reggie put together and what his questions are. And you can copy his. I know you can copy his, you can modify his questions or change it, or say you just have yours already in your head, you just click on edit, and when you click on edit, you can crop the video if you want to make it shorter, you can do a voiceover, you can add notes, or oh yes, you can make it a quiz. And when you make it a quiz, whenever you click a question, you have a couple of different choices. They can be open-ended questions. Oh, it's going to tell us how to do that. I don't want them to tell us how to do that. No, stop. So we'll just let them chat. When you do the quizzes, you can do a open-ended answer, a multiple choice, or you can have just full comments. You can do a voiceover. So this is a great way to take these videos and things we're going to be showing you and making them your own. Once you do this and save it, you can then send it to Google Classroom. You can send it to a link on the board, any way you'd like them to go in and do it. And if you have it so they put in your name, you can go back and not only see who answered what their answers were, how long they took to answer it, and how many times they rewatched the segment before they got the answer right, which I love getting that data. All right. So next thing we're going to look about is two different ways to create books or to create some sort of presentation type material as a book. Book Creator is my favorite now because it is now Chromebook friendly, and you can build it on a Chromebook and anything of that nature. You do need to have an account. A teacher can have an account, and you've got 50 books for free under the free account. Everything we talk about today will be free, by the way. And then if you have students in middle school, high school, even upper elementary that have their own Gmail account, then they can sign in and they've got 50 books. Super easy, plenty of things to do. One of the best things about this is not just writing a book. So we'll sign in, we'll take a look at some of my books here. I did a thing with Crichton Elementary, we're doing vocabulary. So when you type it and you create a cover and you can click to it, you can add audio to a photo that's there. You can embed, let's see, let's make a new book real quick. Yeah, I already did. Oh, well, we'll just wait on that. You can put videos in there. You can add audio recordings over it. You can now draw on the pages as well. So if you upload a picture from a battle or something like that and you want to circle different things and talk about the weaponry that's being used, or maybe it's more of the locations on a map where things are located, you can draw in it as well. This works on Chromebooks. It's always worked on iPads because that's where it came from. And then any device will be able to do this. So it's a great way to take some of these resources we're going to be talking about and give them to where they show what they know. The next one I have is another way to do ebooks, but this is for the younger version. Right Reader likes to say it is a way to create ebooks for those that can't read or write necessarily yet, which is fantastic. I come from a special education background, and I love this for my guys to be writing. I also love it for peer editing. So in my class, we can go in. You can attach Google Classroom to this as well. So these are class books. This is a group of elementary kiddos I worked with to create different books. This one here I created with deaf and hard and hearing class. They were talking about their mothers. So that each student had a picture. One person, this is me because it was my dog Sissy, and then somebody else can write the proper typing and so forth, the editing. So let's look, if we go in to edit the book, this can add things to the pages. Let me scroll down. If we go on the inside, what I like about this is you can put in a picture just by clicking the picture icon. You can look for a picture. One person types here, and then a peer editor or an adult, it says adult typing, they can type what the correct typing, spelling, punctuation should be, and then they can go back and make their change. You can also have this so they have two sets of text. Any way you'd like to do it. Easy to add a page. And there you can see. You can also add an audio recording to this as well. Works great with any special needs students where the writing may be a bit of a struggle, or they've typed in their writing, and then they can record what that says and read it back. It'll give you a good identifier of where they're struggling as well. This can, both of these, Book Creator and Right Reader, can be shared by downloading the book. Now, of course, no audio will go, but you can also link share it, post them on web pages and embed them, anything like that to be able, it's just a really neat student creation tool that works with all levels. So anybody in any K-12, pre-K-12 can create a book and put their knowledge up with that. Now let's get into some social science. Okay, social science, one of my favorite things we've come across here, and Katie knows these because she used to use them. And this is Teaching Tolerance. Teaching Tolerance is a website that has a massive amount of resources for anything you're working with, especially some of those hard topics, some of the hard things around. They have a film kit that you can order, and they will send you everything you need for these film kits. You can choose one, you can choose all of them. You do need to use your school's email or your school's address when you do this, and they will send them. Some of them are only available for streaming, so you can start right now. This goes middle school, high school level. You can start right now with it and just do the streaming only ones, or please order the kits. Totally worthwhile. I especially like this, the bridge to the ballot. You know, next year is going to be rather fanatic, get the right word, as far as ballots and elections and all of those things there, and it's a topic our kids need to talk about. So if we take a quick peek here on One Survivor Remembers, this is a streaming one that's available. Let me show you what comes with the kit that you have. You will get a kit for the things that aren't streaming, but this one, so it's 6th through 12th grade, and it talks about it. Here's a trailer on it, so it's just a little, I think it's little, almost 2 minutes of a trailer of what this is about to give you an idea. And then as you scroll down, there's some questions to be talking about here, how it deepens those questions and what the video gets to. Further down, there's a little bit more. Here's an interview with her as well, here to tell my story, and then a little teacher guide for each of the chapters. So you really get a deep understanding of what's going on in the video before you present this to your students. And then here's some related files, the interview, the full teacher's guide, and handouts and primary documents that you could utilize with this video. Okay, so that's just one of the kits that's there, one of the films. And this one, you could download everything and use it tomorrow if you wanted to. The others are only available for order. This one is more for professional development for teachers, where it's talking about starting small, building that equity, justice, and those types of themes in the pre-K through 5th grade is what it really goes into. But it's a great, great little resource. I plan on using some of that myself in some of my learning supports. The bullied one is fantastic as well. I got a chance to see that at another school. So that's teaching tolerance. Many things they have here. They have some great podcasts. Yes?
Lisa, oh, are those all films, the ones that you were just looking at?
Yes, they're all films.
Okay.
Either in the film kit, they'll send you the MP4 to play on your computers, or you stream it.
Okay.
Okay.
They do have, Kathy.
They have.
Oh, Lisa. I was going to say at the top there, they have some other great classroom resources and professional.
I was getting up here.
Sometimes online, but yeah. Sorry,
yeah.
Lisa. I didn't know if you were headed there next or not.
I was headed there, yes. But the classroom resources, remember, they do a lot of things. This was just their film kits. They have some great printable posters as well, and it gets to some of those hard subjects that we really need to be talking about. Student text, learning plans, and individual lessons, it's worth a deep dive to dig into here. A lot of the social, a lot of the ethics and things around and things like that, and just supporting students that are facing some things that might not have faced 20 years ago. Media, here's the Consumer Bill of Rights, digital tools, are you the product? I mean, there's just some great, really, really things. It'll tell you grade levels there. It'll talk about what the subject is, a lot of digital literacy, fair use, things like that. But really well built and very research-based on everything they do here. They're a nice little one to have on your Facebook feed, by the way, too. Just saying. I get a lot of things. I do a lot of social emotional training, and they have some profound research and results from that. Do sign up for the magazine if you're on there. The latest issue, you can take a look, but if you subscribe, I read it front to back, and I don't do that with magazines very often that I get a lot of educational literature, and yeah, front and back. Okay, so next place we're going to go to grab some resources is Museum Ed. So I keep wanting to say museum. It's not. It's a museum. Museum ED. A couple of things in here to show. They have some great ed tools, educational tools and things. Let's go. That's under my thing. So they have collections. They've just started building their own collection, so they don't have a whole lot together yet. I believe there's like 9 or 10, but they're collections of a lot of primary documents. So fact-finding, foolproof, your guide to media literacy, and these are all the things put together for media literacy type of lessons and so forth. You can launch the connection. This is something you can launch. You can share with the Google Classroom as well, and the kids can go through it. There's multimedia in there. There is some reading with it. They do allow it to be read, however. Most of theirs, where it's an article to read, there is a speaker up in the corner, and you can click on that and be able to have it read to them. Classes and training. And we don't usually go somewhere online to get a class for our students. However, this is one spot that it is available. So this is actually a place that you can go into and sit and all that good stuff, but I'm very happy to know that they have virtual classes. So there's a virtual class. There's no limit to how many people can be in the virtual class. They do start with grade 3. They don't go any lower than that. But say we want to talk about that fake news, which is on our minds a lot lately. But really, what does that mean? Where do you find those things? So if you wanted to do that in a virtual classroom where they're going to run the class with you, you can see wherever it has virtual, one of these is available. I think next year on the campaign trail, this might be a good one to dive into and really get a fair perspective of what our kiddos are watching, even our high school kiddos, what they're watching on TV nowadays as far as what's happening with this campaign trail. Okay, so you can see here it gives you, it's between 7th grade and 12th grade is the suggested. It's about 50 minutes long, Monday through Friday, and it is Eastern time, so they're just an hour ahead of us. Free to use, and of course virtual, there's no limit. Okay, When you do this, you need to click that you want to book a virtual class. So when you book a virtual class, say if we want to do this, they do ask you some very important details so that it can be answered right away. So you have to put, of course, who you are, your class and your school, so forth. Choose which virtual class you would like to use. And then down here, first and second choice of a date. And then how many sessions. If you're middle school and high school, and maybe you want to do this 3 times in one day because you have 3 classes that are going to be looking at this topic, then you need to put 3 and then put a start of each of those sessions. So the start period for each of those classes. And then we're, of course, central. Number of students that might be in each of those, put all 3. So if there's 20 in the 3rd period and 25 in the 4th period, so forth and so on. And then the grade levels that you're talking about. The more details you put in here, of course, some of them are forced, but the more details that you do, this is a test, is not a test, but it's a time to test out your technology with their resources and make sure you're comfortable with everything that's happening. So this is for your benefit to test out everything. And then what equipment you have. And if you do the Fighting Fake News, they want to make sure that 5 students have access to 1 device at least. So check out the Chromebook card if you need to, or the iPad, something like that. And then let them know what will be available, because they have some interactive pieces with that class. And then you just submit. They usually answer, talking with a couple of the teachers, they usually answer within 4 days to let you know if any of those dates are. You need at least 2 weeks lead time to ask, so gives them a little bit of a buffer. But it's a great way to bring that information from another source and being taught from another source as well. So some great resources there. And we move on. I have to go faster. Okay. Digital Public Library of America. I'm going to zip through a couple of these here. So the best resource with this one, I would say there's an abundance of resources, 35 million at least. You can search for collections, these there, browse a topic. Just know that it is probably one of the most up-to-date, because you can even get the Muller ebook if you'd like. So very up-to-date on resources, very up-to-date on things that are going on, online exhibits that you can explore. I like their primary source sets. So it really digs into those primary sources. It's a great way that if you want to do something with Equal Rights Amendment and you want your students to dig through the primary source set, you can send them this link up here, and then they've got into the set. There's a teaching guide with it on how to use it, and so forth and so on. On their home page, a great place to stop first is down here where it has, how do I use the DPLA? And there's an education guide. It'll talk you through that. It'll give you ways to embed it into your lessons and units. It's a great way to start your guide on how you can bring this into your class. And it gets into some grade specific as well, middle school versus high school, things like that, even upper elementary and lower elementary. Okay, off we go. PBS History Detectives is another one I like. The investigation process, inquiry, and so forth, they take some techniques. Here's some investigation. Of course, it's PBS. The first time you come onto this site, it's going to make sure that you have your correct PBS network notated, so that that's the one you're connected to. Because if you do want to look at schedules and that, they'll give you the right ones for your PBS TV channel. But like this, the Civil War sabotage, it's an investigation to figure out why, what happened there, so forth. There is a spot for educators to click on. Under here, you can scroll down and have an idea of the sourcing, contextualizing, corroborating, close reading, and question support, all of that. How do we find out the sourcing? There's 2 questions. Over on the right-hand side are lesson plans that are available. Great ones all the way down. Cardboard history is one of my favorite. Has nothing to do with cardboard. Has to do with economics. So in here, it gives you a brief summary as to what it is, and it talks about being a collector. It gets into baseball card collecting, but it's also the understanding of the predictions, economical decisions, and responsible decisions, the historical thinking through the literature, examining the card and what you make. So lots of decision making going on in this one, and I really like that. It's part of that SEL Goal 3, is how do you make a decision, and this one really gets into problem solving and strategies as well. So lots of topics here, but dig in and take a peek. You know, different ones that are there might not be what you think they are. Okay, let's go somewhere else. Oh, Class Hook. Class Hook is a great way to bring some TV videos and shows and things to get your kids hooked on the topic that you're going to be talking about. It's a great way just to get them to go, oh, maybe I should watch this, you know. Any content area whatsoever has Class Hook in there. You can do a search for it here. What was I doing? I was doing economics, was it? Economics. So just type in a subject you're looking for. I do some math ones sometimes where you're doing algebra and so forth, but economics is great there, and you can look to see here are video clips or snippets. These are some cartoons. There's ones from full-length videos, movies, things like that that has to do with economics. So maybe we're talking about inflation, and I want to get DuckTales in there for 3 minutes and 20 seconds. It'll tell you a little bit about here. It'll tell you what topics here and a little bit about it. So you don't really actually go watch all of them unless you find what you want. I love the color coding. They didn't have this about a year ago, but elementary, middle school, high school, and college. So this is okay for your elementary school. Evolution of, the functions of money and inflation and budgeting at an elementary level, this would work. And we know high schoolers don't mind throwing in a little cartoon once in a while. Seinfeld, of course, this is high school and college. So you take the bit and it just gives you a little bit about, I just saw this the other day, the closed donation. What does donation, self-interest, so forth. It's a way to hook into the topic that you're about to cover in a very interesting way. That's what Class Hook has. Okay, next on, points of view. We're going to get into some globalizing here. Let's take a peek at some global. This is another PBS offering here. Let me close some of these down. They just put a new one up yesterday. I really like it. Point of view, it does a lot of global things going on in the world, but it's talking about the points of view of different people and what they're looking at and what they're dealing with. The one they put up yesterday, it's a feature film, 60 minutes long, and it has to do with taking care of elderly, taking care of your elderly, your parents, things like that. But you're going to find a lot of tough subjects and hard subjects on here. To really get in, but it gives you the resources as well to put them in your lessons and teacher guides with it. And that falls under the Engage button. A lot of people aren't sure where to go. Engage is where you want to click to get some of those resources and supports for these videos. Now it talks about events. These are things that will be screening on your local channel at any given time. But I like to go into the resources because resources is where it's going to give you your lesson plans. Most all of these are for high school because some of them are some hard topics. There are a few for middle school occasionally. So here for this family caregiving, caring for our elders. So there's a lesson plan for this video and there's a discussion guide. Almost all of these will have one of three things or sometimes all three. So lesson plan, a discussion guide, and a reading list to go even deeper into the topic. Okay, and if there is a lesson plan, it does tell you the grade levels for it. You can do 9th and 10th as well. It's not that strong to just be 11th and 12th. It would be difficult to be 6th grade. But it's talking about industrial disaster there, the farmsteaders, and again, they have both as well, a discussion guide and a lesson plan. So point of view, a great way to look globally at other things that are going on. Now, all-inclusive crash course videos. Crash course videos have been around for a while for science and a little bit for math, but they're starting to delve into social sciences, which is fantastic. So let's load this up. So the link I provided gives you a search of just social studies, so it specifically drops down into that. You can do even more of a different, and do civics if you'd like, and dig into civic specific. They're all pretty much animation and cartoons there, but that does not mean they're not good for middle school and high school. They are. They work really, really well. I worked in an alternative school, and I used the science ones all the time, and my high school kids were right in there. And again, just like the first two things, you can share that in a Google Classroom or any other classroom management setting that you want to through those other options, or straight into if they can do the YouTube. So market economy, free, this is all under civics. So depending upon where you want to go and what you want to see. There's lots of resources for them. They're done very well. They put the research behind it, and they will match up with standards as well. Some put the standards on there, some do not. So they've just started with the civics one and haven't done that deep of a dive in the civics connections to it. Another one I love coming across teachers that do really well and make videos and curate video lists, and that would be Hip Hughes History. This is his main page. What I like about his video index, it's actually a Google Doc, which means he updates it often. You can also click it, and because it is view only, and you get the updates going when he does this. Let's see, let it load up. You can also choose File and make a copy and save that in your own Google Drive. So you just have it readily available there without having to dive in anywhere. All right. But I like what he has here. One of the first ones he has up here is Teacher Talk. So these are things that he's curated over his years being a teacher for, I think, 26 years. 5 assumptions just to let go of. You know, it's a nice watch. The Art of Classroom Management, 6 Ways to Connect with Kids. Some really good topics, and I do like some of the advice he has on there, does really well. Engaging kids with digital videos, editing behind the scenes. Then we go into what he has for his history and social sciences. So we have a history and specific videos for that. It might save you a time of searching through YouTube. That these are already ones he's used middle school and high school over his years, mostly high school, but he has done some that fit well with middle school. So down through here, I know it's kind of a fast scroll. I'm trying not to go too quickly. After the history portion, we do come to another topic. Test review, that would be high school. Then we go to the Constitution. What I like about this, not only just all of the things there, the Electoral College, the branch overview and so forth, pick an amendment. If you ever needed a video on an amendment, there they are. So a quick dive. Political science, he gets into a little bit of that. I love the Supreme Court cases, not just that Ruth Bader Ginsburg's shooting out rainbows, but where you can go in and study one of the cases, or in many of the cases. We know about some of the big ones, but there's a few other ones that you might want to dig into. Okay, elections, so unique things that are happening at specific elections. Hasn't updated it lately. We stopped off at 2012. And then world history. So there's some options and places to go in videos for world history. And then he has a couple on different religions. And then I like the student skills as well. Advice to kids about school. And sometimes it's the same thing you've been saying to kids to help them for school, but once they see it from somebody else, a light bulb goes off sometimes. Strategies and things like that. So Hip Hughes Video Index is a great option for there. Okay, now one of my all-time favorites. I know I've talked Google often, but let's talk a little Microsoft. Let me drop that down just a little bit. Okay, now Microsoft does require that you log in and you have a Microsoft Innovative Educators account. A Microsoft Innovators Edges account is free, and there are so many things you can do on there. We're going to talk Skype in the classroom today. A couple of things I like about Skype in the classroom. I'm not going to hit all the pieces of it, but I am going to talk about a few. A mystery Skype. A mystery Skype is a great way to build some, not only geography where places are located, but an understanding about people in other places, even if it's a state over from you and not just a country elsewhere. It could just be a state. The best part about this mystery Skype is the students have no idea where the other students are located. So you coordinate with a teacher, you can opt in for it here, and they give you a couple of choices of what time frames, what times of the day, what are you looking for, things like that. Under the resources, it'll give you an idea of how this works. But the best thing is you test out your equipment first to make sure Skype runs well on your machine and everything like that. And then when your Skype comes around, you log in, the other class logs in, and your kids are talking to each other, okay? So while the kids are talking to each other, they have to ask them pertinent questions. And I see my camera froze. Huh. So they have to ask them pertinent questions to figure out where they're located. What language do they speak? Maybe what's their gross national product? What type of weather do they have? Things like that. Okay. And by asking those pertinent questions, thank you, Katie. By asking those pertinent questions, they have to try to figure out where the other class is located. So it's great fun. It works great in elementary school, but it works very much so with any grade level. But I've seen some third grade classes do this, and it is the best fun in the world when they figure out where they are. Sometimes they hang out and they talk again in a month or so just to see what each class is doing. They've also used Skype as pen pals as well. So it's a cool little adventure.
What a cool way to connect with people. That's really neat. I like that.
Yeah, it is. And the one I was watching recently was a third grade class, and they connected with Washington State. So they just got done with breakfast, and they were about to go to recess. So in the classroom. Yeah. So they had a hard time wrapping their heads around that they just finished breakfast, and it was almost lunchtime here. So get to know your time zones, you know?
Cool.
It is. The next one to talk about with Microsoft is virtual field trips. I know field trips is not something everybody can just hop on a bus and go. The logistics of it seems to be more of a struggle, but this will connect you to places you didn't even think were possible to connect with, like talking with Washington State. Maybe we want to go, let's see, I'm sure taking your kids on a coral reef dive might be on your schedule for this year, but logistic, it might be a little difficult to take everybody scuba diving. You can go here. All of these under this field trip, and you just have to look to see what you want to discover, what you want to see. There are a lot of historical field trips here to go see. Where was I? Was it ecology? I want to go up one more, I think. Down more, history and culture. You can go to, I had that already. The Holocaust Museum was over here. Witness to history, Skype with a Holocaust person at the museum and talk with them. Here's a museum in Russia. Timetable may be a little off there. Let's take a peek. So when you click to go in to see what it's like, it'll tell you quite a few things about this. Okay. Okay, so you can request a virtual field trip. Ages 6 to 7, 8 to 10, or 11 to 13. Now, some of these they could do, so you're right there asking questions. Sometimes they will record it for you as well and take you around. Russia, I do believe they're going to record it for you. I don't think the time zone will fit well with you. But the Holocaust Museum in DC, you could do a virtual field trip with them, and they will walk you through the museum. Now, remember, all this is free. Okay, this talks about the field trip, how to set it up. Here's your getting started to understand what to do and how to connect with them. It is free to ask for any of these. You can even ask for ones that aren't there, and they may help coordinate that for you, which brings me to my third choice with Microsoft, are guest speakers. So if you're doing economics, you need to talk to a banker, and maybe your local ones don't want to pitch in, take a look here and see what you can find. If you want to talk to a CEO of, well, Microsoft is on here quite a lot. I'm sure you could work out a CEO. As a matter of fact, the Foundation Discovery Center would get you a CEO or somebody to talk to for the business ethics and things of that nature. So you do a search. You can filter it by several different things, including subject. So if you want history, we can see who they have here, the Virginia Museum of History and Cultural Educator. You can drive into there, the Holocaust Awareness Museum, talk with their educator, and they'll walk you around. It's just a great way to connect with people that you just can't have come into your classroom, but can come into your classroom. They give you guidance before the speaker's there to help your students research what type of questions they may be wanting to ask them. So all of that is available prior to. They guide you through the whole thing. So even if you're tech nervous, aren't quite sure, it's something you could easily do, and they'll make sure you're quite comfortable with it.
And you know what, Lisa?
Okay.
I just met a gentleman last week who works for the Livingston County War Museum here in Illinois, in Pontiac. And he said that they Skype with classrooms, and they might do virtual field trips. So I don't know if they're on Microsoft's platform. I'm going to put their website on my website. later this week.
Yeah.
There might be places even in Illinois that we can't quite get to that may be able to expose our kids to on it.
Right. Oh, most definitely. And you can ask when you go into the guest speaker one, you can ask them to find you a guest speaker. I had ones that wanted to talk to, they had a zoologist, but they didn't have an oceanographer or something of a marine biologist. They wanted to talk to a marine biologist. And they didn't have one. They had a zoologist, but that's a different set of animals. So they asked, it did take them about 8 weeks to find one that would do this, but now that person's a speaker on there all the time.
That's cool.
So they don't know what's needed until it gets asked. So never be worried about doing that.
Okay.
Okay, so let's dive into some civics, because I want to make sure I get to Everify too here. So let's go into iCivics. iCivics is free. Notice they're looking for money, but iCivics is great interactive resources. Notice their homepage says, let's play. So you click into play. You don't need an account to do this. Kids can go on and play any of the choices on there. The Teach platform there is great for you to build your lesson plans and so forth. And if you do sign in, you can connect Google Classroom to this as well, and you can assign different activities and games to your students, and then see who's doing what and see what they're playing and so forth. But you can see different things here. I love the argument wars. You know, our kids know how to argue, but maybe not correctly. So let's argue in front of the Supreme Court and get their lawyering skills in action there. Cast your vote. This one, of course, will be used quite a bit. Do I have a right? Some of our kids think they have a right to everything. Well, maybe you should take a look, see exactly what are your constitutional rights and so forth. Immigration, lawcraft, newsfeed defenders. I love this one. It's about the hidden ads, deception, false news. And it does tell you it takes about 30 minutes worth playtime. So we'll tell you what the playtime is for each of these. And some of these, they've created a team type play where you can divide your class into two and play the activities in the game with it. Almost all of them are converted over to HTML5, so they'll play on Chromebooks. Occasionally, you do have to activate the Flash on your Chromebooks, but as Flash goes away in a year and 3 months, all of theirs will be updated to HTML5, so they will all continue to play. Okay, so let's see. I don't need the leaderboard. It doesn't want to play for me right now because I have too many things going. But iCivics is a great way in with the civics and government and so forth. Ben's Guide is a nice little activity for the younger set, but it can do for middle school as well. Lots of information to guiding information for different things within the government. It does have a game, but the game currently, because they are changing them over to HTML5, is just a map game at the moment, but it is states and capitals. Oh, look, they're starting to add more. There we go. Little quizzes there. They will get more. They had 20 at one point, but they're updating them all. So there's a branch mania. So they've got 2 more back in today. So I would imagine within the next couple of months, everything will be back on there. But understanding the branches of government and so forth. And when you choose what level you are, the games will fit that level. Learning adventures, so ages 4 to 8. If you click in there, there's different things for the branches of government, how laws are made, symbols, songs, and structures. We know we got to do the songs. Okay. So, and historical documents, the election process, all of this is then geared toward 4 to 8-year-olds. Okay. So that's Ben's. And let's see. Oh, factitious. We were talking earlier about knowing fact from fiction and so forth. Factitious is a great game to play on the smartboard, kind of get them started into that news, so forth. So you can start off with easy 1, which is middle school level, and you have to choose whether it's fake or not fake. So here's our easy first question. I didn't get it right yesterday. Okay, drunk driver runs back to a burning car to light a cigarette. You can read the whole thing. You can show the source, and is it fake or is it not? Let's say it's not correct. Oh, I'm wrong. It is right. So this is just a nice interactive to read through, decide is it fake news. They can decide as a group. You can break students into groups and teams to decide which it is, and it talks a little bit about it. So it came from Fox News. Okay. So it falls under news, and it is correct. So we can continue. It's going to give me the next one, and you can read through that and make your decision. You can look at the source before you make your choice, so it just tells you the name and not any more than that. So this was the marshmallows at a wildfire, and I know that one is fake. We got that one right yesterday too. Okay. It's just a great game to play, to go through lots of things and getting the kids to understand. A lot of our kids are seeing all of this news and things like that, and they don't know where to turn with it. They don't know what's true or false. This is a great way to really reflect on what we've been seeing.
Well, and to practice some of those skills they're working on in social studies, where we look at source bias and validity of sources, and so reinforcing some of those same concepts. That's fun. And some of these were harder than I wanted them to be when I played on this website, Lisa. Like, I'm embarrassed that they were harder than they should have been.
I know. I should have known that was not there. But, yep, it is.
I think
it gets us to think, too. But
yeah.
Yeah, you really have to read every bit of what's on here. Because, every little bit. But that's what we need to tell our students, too. And I'm not afraid to admit I got, one or two wrong. And I thought I knew my stuff. But we'll do a little bit of money here for the younger kiddos. Hip Pocket Change is a great site for learning about your money, things like that, parts of a coin, games and activities, the library that's there, great interactive. They do all play on a Chromebook, so it's a great way in which to do that. Collecting coins, just any of the games activities to understand coins, so counting with coins. I actually used this. I had an exchange student come here from Poland, and our coins are quite different. So he played this for about 3 days before he figured out what exactly all of our coins did, because we have different ones. So I can choose who I am, and I'm going to play and understand all of that. So, well, let's see. Oh, it would be $1, wouldn't it? I should get that right. Yeah, 2 tomatoes. I'm not in the coins though yet, but so just some great money games for the kids, making change, a coin flip, heads or tails, a little probability going on for you there. Okay, coin memory match, that's a good one too. Okay, so some great ones in there. And since we're getting into financial, we'll hit EverFi, and I think that might be the last. There'll be a few more on the PowerPoint you might see, just because I have more than I have time for. It happens often. EverFi, you do need to have an account for this, but you can create your classes, so you can assign things to your kiddos for classes. When you come here, you go to the K2 home, or we're just going to bop to the library and go into financial education and see what's in the library here for financial education. They have a great social emotional character playbook as well. Have to throw that in there. So EverFi has a high school financial literacy, investing basics. So many, showing me everything. Okay. Entrepreneurial expedition. So let's look at the financial one up here first. Oh, and then we'll filter by topic. So financial literacy, it'll give you little details for it. Of course, it's high school, and it's going to be covering banking basics, income and employment, budgeting, consumer skills, managing credit, debit, financing, higher education, of course, insurance. Things our high schoolers don't know a whole lot about there. Under the resources, you can get a course outline, look at the standards alignment, a curriculum guide with it as well. And then when you log in, your kids will be connected to it. I'll show you a little bit of what that looks like. Let's see. Let's see my other choices here. Financial. There we go. Investing basics, so it is like to invest. Entrepreneur. Future Smart is for your middle schoolers, talking about finances as well. What I like about this is it is comic strip, cartoon based. It does read everything as well. You can turn off the voice, so you can read the comic strip and the cartoon books as well, or it can read it to you. Great different modules to go through. Like I said, you can set up a class, so you can monitor and assign different sections to your class and so forth. So this one for middle school, financial values and goals, budgeting, saving, payment types. It's getting into that credit a little bit, banking, risk versus return, and then planning for your future. So all of that is in the 6 through 8. And they do have a 3 through 5th grade as well. And that is the vault is financial literacy for elementary students. Oh, 4th through 6th. I'm sorry, 4th through 6th. And that's there. So I like the entrepreneurial one as well. I have a Career Explorer teacher giving this a try out for me to see how it works in his career explorations for everybody who wants to be an inventor. So he's going to utilize some of those pieces in there. So that's EverFi. One of the last ones now is the Medal of Honor winners. This is something, Katie, you told me there's a mandated one to watch for.
There is. So it's a not commonly remembered mandate, but they're supposed to, is it middle school, high school students are supposed to watch the Medal of Honor in their eyes, in their own words, or something like that.
In their own words, right.
Yeah. The link on the ISB page isn't working, but I emailed ISB to let them know, and they'll hopefully get that updated soon. But I think that's hearing from the actual Medal of Honor winners about their experiences. It's like 10 or 11
Correct.
minutes, pretty short videos. Those ones are, yeah.
They are. And you can see the Medal of Honor recipients if you click up here at the top. The Medal of Honor recipients, you can watch just an overview, and I believe that's the one they're trying, it just moved its housing. But if you're studying specific history and you're studying specific battles and things like that, these are some great ones to dive into. You don't need an account to watch the video, but do set up an account to get the resources that go with the videos. They all have activities that go with it. We're not actually, talking to Alonzo here, but if you go into Alonzo's thing, you're going to get some video from his ancestors, or descendants, sorry, wrong direction, from his descendants about different things, acts of bravery in 1863, American Civil War. And then within this, if you have the account, when you go in to get the account, there are things you can download to help support what his was for bravery, active bravery. And it'll give you some resources and activities for the students to do with it. So you can choose by different media that you want to pick from, living history, ceremonies, portraits of valor. I would recommend that they have this for all grade levels. They do have some for the kindergarten, first, second grade, and so forth. They do recommend when some of these videos to be just middle school, high school, and the curriculum will tell you which videos to share, but you want to watch it before you show it to the students. I say that because when this first came out, my son was in Afghanistan, and I started watching some of the videos to view it, and I had to turn it off. That's just because I needed to turn it off. But under the character development, this is where you can get lesson plans to go with all of these resources and all of these videos. And one of them in there is that from their voice. They're all from their voice. Over here, you can request now and get the kit. Basically, what that kit means is they're going to send you, here I have mine, they're going to send you this lovely little book with this lovely little key, and it's a memory stick, it's a thumb drive with all of these videos and everything already in it. All the lesson plans are on it. Everything is there. So if you have a streaming issue sometimes with videos, ask for it. They'll send you 3, and they'll send you 3 more if you ask again. So they were very nice. They let me copy it. So, but the lesson plans that go with it do elementary school and then middle school, high school. Great interactive, great group activities to go with it, and really gets that understanding of what they're about. So in their initiatives, it's bravery, support. Here's all about the foundation. I like this talks about courage, sacrifice, patriotism, citizenship, integrity, commitment. Those are the things it talks about. It has you talking with them. And I highly recommend the citizen honors as well, to look at that, because the Medal of Honor winners decided that they needed to have real people. You don't need a uniform to be brave, Citizens can do it as well. And they have the Young Citizens Award. If you get a chance, watch Virgil. He's awesome. So he's my favorite one on there. Okay, there.
Awesome.
A minute early. Does that count?
Yeah, I'm impressed. That was a ton of information. Thank you, Lisa, so much for sharing all that. Guys, I just wanted to let you know, I pasted in the chat window a couple of links that might be of interest to you. There's a link. First, I'm going to very nicely request that you fill out the post survey for us. Collecting data helps us to be able to continue to provide these. So that was the first link I put there. And then the second link is to Lisa's slide deck that has all these different websites in it. So if you want to explore some of those, I'd say feel free to open it, click on it, click on the post survey and click on that link to open both windows for when we close the meeting. Both of those links will end up being posted on our Social Studies Com page. You just might be faster than I am, as I have to wait for the video to get ready to post. There's also some other links about looking for other information or joining our listserv. I know a lot of people get information about signing up from our listserv, but there's some other information there as well that you can check out. So does anybody have any last minute questions for Lisa? Okay.
Did I miss anything you might want us to find? I wish I had something that did this.
I think sometimes I don't even know what I want it to do is the problem, but
yep.
No, there's lots of fun things that I have a list to explore now, and I'm going to be adding a bunch of these to my social studies webpage. I know Lisa has a tech page that's linked off our Classrooms in Action page as well that you can explore, and a bunch of these are on there, or the
that one right there.
Yep.
Yep, a bunch of them are on there, not all under content area social science, even though there is a page for that. There are also apps as well, lots of resources for social science, but some of the other ones are in other locations. So there's always a search bar. You can type something in. It might help you get there faster. But
sounds good.
There's over 600 resources on there, and they are all free as well, because we are teachers, and free is good.
Free is always good.
And yeah, and they're all tech things that you can implement without, no offense to the tech guys, because I love them, but they don't need to come in and install something for you to use these.
Yes, that's always good.
Yeah.
Lisa, I'll put the link to your tech page in the chat window here too before we sign off, in case anybody wants to get that as well. So thank you, Lisa, for sharing all those great sources with us. I'm very excited to explore some of those. And thank you all for joining us this afternoon and taking some time. As always, if you ever had any questions, feel free to email myself or Kathy, or Lisa's email is also on our Classrooms in Action page, so you can get a hold of any of us. Or you can reach out and we can forward you to Lisa. Either way works. So,
well, it's the button at the bottom of my page too. So
there you go.
Comes to me.
There you go. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming, everybody.